The Independent Communications Authority of South Africa has decided to recall the emergency radio frequency spectrum it released to mobile operators in April 2020. It was expected to ease network congestion during South Africa's coronavirus lockdown. Now, MTN has warned ICASA its decision could lead to digital load shedding. We're joined by Jacqui O'Sullivan from MTN South Africa. Jacqui, can you tell us a little bit more about the background of this? What could possibly be this digital load shedding that you're referring to?
Yes, certainly, Anlie. You know, the Independent Communications Authority, which is the regulator for the telecommunications sector, ICASA, in April of last year, they acted with speed, agility and with great foresight by recognizing that every South African moving into their homes, turning their homes into their classrooms, their lecture halls and their workplace was going to really place a strain on the networks. So what they did was they granted us this additional temporary spectrum, which we have paid for as in a sort of a rental kind of agreement. So not what we would pay if, in an auction process, but we basically had an agreement that we would be using the spectrum. What it has done is it has achieved exactly every one of ICASA's objectives. It made sure that we were able to reach into more rural areas with extended coverage. It made sure that we could increase speeds, we could improve the quality, and we could drop prices even more than we had initially expected to be able to. Because really, spectrum is if you can imagine, a water pipe. You can only squeeze that much water through a water pipe. By giving us additional spectrum, effectively what ICASA has done is they've opened that water pipe and given us the ability to service South Africans better. And what we're saying is that our ability as MTN to have given 5 million South African students and learners access to more than 1,000 free education sites, just as one example, is a consequence of this. And to remove this temporary spectrum while the pandemic is still in place, and then also before we've had a chance to actually then buy the full-time spectrum through an auction process or some sort of a process, is going to have an impact on the South Africans that we're trying to serve. And that's really what we're looking at, is how can we try and keep serving South Africans as networks in the country as best as we can, while we try and get through this pandemic period, which unfortunately we still find ourselves in.
Jacqui, has ICASA given you reasons as to why they want to take back this emergency spectrum at this particular point in time?
Well, we are engaging with ICASA. We're having good discussions with them, and we have kept those negotiations going throughout this period. We are looking at some sort of a negotiated settlement, and we hope to try and get somewhere by the middle of this month. What they're really looking at the moment is the need to actually formalize this process, and we are absolutely in support of that. We certainly do need to formalize this. It's been 14 years since the networks have had more spectrum, and the principal win for South Africans with this additional spectrum is that we would be able to consistently keep improving the quality and, most importantly, lower the cost to communicate. So we're very much on the same page there with ICASA. So they're looking to formalize this, and we're saying we believe that it must be formalized, but let's formalize it and then withdraw the temporary spectrum. Let's not create a situation where at any time South Africans are left hanging, particularly when we are in a difficult time with an economy that really has been battered by so many different forces over the recent years.
Well, thank you for speaking to us. That was Jacqui O'Sullivan from MTN South Africa.